What y'all doing? Get up. Y'all napping? Y'all sleep? Get up. We have some things to talk about as a family, as a community. Get up. Hey, y'all. Thank you for watching another What Else is Going On, aka We Go Podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. I hope y'all can't hear that loud motorcycle that just rode through where I live. It was quiet the whole time until I got on here. Y'all, I just had another glass of Alka-Seltzer. I took some this morning as I was running out the door to go to Karen's trial. So for those of y'all who watched the Potomac review, which thank y'all so much for watching the Potomac review, y'all know I wasn't feeling good waking up this morning. I was starting to feel bad, starting to cough Monday, started not feeling too good last night, took some Alka-Seltzer, got up this morning and wasn't really feeling it. And I was like, all right, you know what? Try to take a shower. You ain't even got to do your hair, throw on something that's kind of like a little cute, but not your huge, take some Alka-Seltzer. So y'all, I made some Alka-Seltzer, drunk it as I was heading out the door. And then my GPS, so I looked up her trial time, right? It started at 9:30. I have never been in a courtroom as an observer. The times I've been, I was a defendant, mind your business. And so I know you have to be on time for that. But I didn't know if you could walk in late being an observer, right? Y'all, it started at 9:30. It's 50 minutes away from my house. GPS had me getting there at 9 o'clock. Like I was using two different ones. I'm old school, so I still use MapQuest. They still got an app. It's good. Waze is good too, but sometimes Waze will get you jammed up a little bit. So I'll use MapQuest. MapQuest said 9 o'clock. Child, Waze said 9:34. I said, now wait a minute. Then MapQuest jumped to 9:34 because y'all know last year the Key Bridge fell in Maryland. That is right. Like I used to take that bridge all the time. That is right. Like I could be to the Key Bridge like that. And that's what I would take to get to DC or down in that area so much quicker. So with not being able to go that way, traffic has been heavier in different spots. 95, the tunnel. This was in Rockville. For those of y'all that live in the DMV area, you know. So where I would normally get on 95, that was blocked too. So GPS was rerouting me. Child, time kept pushing back. I'm like, do I go? I don't know. What do I do? I'm calling my husband. He's like, go once you get out. And he had already texted me earlier. He was, y'all, let me tell you, he is down for the shenanigans. This morning I said, oh, I don't feel good. I just want to lay down. He's like, me too. And normally he'll be like, go ahead, lay down. You need me to do anything? It was like he was giving me like a little nudge, knowing that after I took the Alka-Seltzer, I would feel better. He was like, yeah, so let me know if you decide to go, what time you're leaving. Like he gave me that little nudge. To shout out to my hubby for always being down and supporting my shenanigans. He talking about if he was there, he would have took pictures and he would have went ahead and got kicked out, and at least he would have had the pictures. I said, sir, he would have that. But anyway, so I'm calling him. I'm like, so he was texting me that morning, hey, there's a lot of traffic getting through the tunnel, so you might want to leave a little earlier. And I was like, okay. I left at 8:05. Again, it should only have taken 50 minutes. Even an hour and 20 at the most would have still put me early. I had already Googled parking spots near the court, right? Okay. So I knew that there was a parking garage, yada, yada, yada. Black folks love saying that. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But blase, blase. But anyway, I'm leaving. I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go halfway and turn around if traffic is bad. So I'm going. Then I start talking to another friend of mine. Shout out to Danielle. For those of you that watch Kempire, you know that Danielle. And I'm like, Danielle, what should I do? Should I go? I had called my husband, Really B. Shout out to Really B. Really B ain't answer the phone, but in her defense, she was in class teaching the children. I believe our children are the future. And then Danielle. So all three of them I called or whatever. And then so Danielle was like, just go. You didn't already came this far, just go. Listen. Then I was like, should I go to the courthouse? Should I go to the parking garage? Which one should I go to? Because I'm already gonna be late. Y'all, I had brought heels. Like, y'all see my sweater with my little hearts on them? I had brought some red heels too, right? Try to be like a little cute. But then I also brought my Air Force Ones, baby. And I was like, in case I gotta run. And she was like, just get there, park, and run. So I was like, okay. I'm on the phone with her. Get up to the courthouse, and it shows a sign for parking. I was like, bet, parking garage is down that way. Let me get down that way. By this time, it's like 9:30. Hopefully they're running late, right? I get there. I get ready to get to the parking garage and see a whole bunch of parks along the street. Boom, park, scan the little thing on my phone so I could pay, but it didn't give me an option to like put the amount of time. So I was like, how is this going to work? It's definitely going to be longer than an hour. They only give me 59 minutes. Anyway, I do it. I'm on the phone with her, like literally going uphill to the courthouse, glutes on fire, because I just worked them out yesterday. And then I get there, right? So y'all, this is so funny. I'm walking up to the courthouse and I see like news cameras or whatever. And I was like, I'm wondering if that was for Karen. Like, what are the news cameras doing here? Get in. There was no security. It was quick. I saw the signs. I already knew where I needed to go and everything. I had already pre-looked that up. So I get up there, y'all, and I see this other girl, this other Black girl. She was cute or whatever. And I was like, are you here? As we're getting off the elevator, I go, are you here for a particular courtroom to see where she was going with it? She was like, no, I'm here to see my friend. And I was like, dang. And then we both start walking in the same direction. She was like, you here for Karen? I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, me too. So like neither one of us wanted to say, right? So we get there, and you know how a courtroom has doors. This one had a door, a little vestibule, and off to the vestibule were like 2 rooms, and then boom, you're in the room. So there was the big old sign for those of y'all that follow me on Instagram or Twitter. If not, please follow me at WeGo, WEIGO podcast. Y'all see I posted a picture that was like court is in session or closed courtroom, right? Let me make sure I tell y'all exactly what it said. Child, I don't want to be out here lying. And I was there. It said, closed hearing, please do not enter without authorization. Y'all probably not going to be able to see it for those of y'all that have it. Okay, y'all see that? You can see a little bit of it. That's the sign that was on the door. Anyway, so I was like, dag. So by this time, it was me, her, and 2 other girls. I'm sorry, me, her, a girl, and a guy. But we can look in the glass and see that there's a sheriff and other people standing in a little vestibule listening to what was going on in court, right? I go and I'm like, other people are walking in. And this other one lady walked in, and one of the girls that was there goes, yeah, but she had a badge. So I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, so they letting people in with badges. Why did I not try to go on social media and see if I can link up with somebody and work at the courthouse, right? It's too late for that. Too late for that. So we're standing outside. We're kind of talking. And I was like, I'm surprised it's a closed hearing because it was listed on the site. Y'all, people were walking up, white folks, Black folks, men, women that clearly worked in the courthouse building with badges on, right? Going in, coming out, going in, coming out. So then these 2 Black ladies walked up with this white woman. The white lady talks with them for a while, then leaves. And since I saw they had badges, I was like, y'all work here? And they were like, no, we're prosecutors for such and such office. And I said, oh, y'all just came for Karen? And they were like, yeah. And I said, I really wish we could get in, but, and the lady was like, you can go in. It's open hearing. It's open to the public. And I was like, I thought so, but the sign, she was like, I don't know why that sign is there. Y'all, somebody had to lie and put that sign up there. Somebody in my comments on Twitter, shout out to you. I don't remember who did it, said, I don't remember who said it, but they said Ray probably put it up there. So y'all, I get in the vestibule, standing behind people, whatever. And her lawyer is talking. And when I tell you, y'all, her lawyer talked and talked and talked. And I get it, right? That's what they're supposed to do. But it reminded me of like what he was saying didn't sound like it was it was substance. It was like so much fluff. Just about, she did this treatment program. She did that treatment program. She's respected. People look up to her. She wants to, like, some of the tweets, in case y'all haven't seen, I'll read y'all some of the tweets that I tweeted because the volume was kind of low in the courtroom, meaning the volume of the people was kind of low in the courtroom. I wish that we could have like literally turned the volume up on the people, like speak louder, speak into a mic. Oh, when I walk in, I look, I see a row of people, and it's, okay, of course, Karen and her lawyer up front. And then a couple rows back, there's Ray. Remember the guy that was on the show, her cousin, that she said she was on the phone with that night? Her cousin. I think it was 2 women and another man. I'm not sure exactly, but I did not see Raven. And I don't recall seeing her son. Ray didn't turn around anything. Her cousin kept turning around to look. I mean, throughout the entire trial, he was turning around, looking back, turning around, looking back. Karen looked good. I will say that. Like, she looked snatched. She had on a 613 wig, but it was new. It was not the one that she's been wearing. I think Karen was prepared to take press pictures. I think Karen thought she was going to walk out of that courtroom and take pictures. Now, I will say, someone that was there from the beginning said that Karen must have came in through a side door. They didn't see her walk in through the main door. So there's that. So I'm gonna tell y'all what. So her lawyer was, Karen had a statement. So remember, this is about 10 to 15 minutes in. So I missed like the first 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20. So Karen had a statement, and they gave it to her lawyer gave it to the judge, and he was like, "Do I read this? Am I supposed to read this out loud or quietly?" And the lawyer says quietly. So there was like a moment of silence while the judge read whatever Karen's statement was quietly. So when that happened, I didn't think that Karen was going to talk. I was like, oh, maybe she's not going to testify, because, you know, in all the press that we had seen in the Washington Post, she was going to testify. So I was like, well, maybe she's not going to, right? So that's what I was thinking. So he reads it quietly, what have you. Then we move on. Y'all, the judge talked so much for such a long period of time that he ended up like right in the middle of him talking. Doesn't even say, excuse me. He's talking, da-da-da-da-da, picks up a cup, water, puts it back down, and just talking. He started presenting reasons to the judge as to why she went to the type of replace that she did. Because remember, it had the horse therapy. Is it equine or equine? EQUINE therapy. I'm not sure quite how to pronounce it, but they had that, tennis. And then it came out that they had a winery or wine tasting there. Girl, what? So, but he's presenting as to why, like, for the judge not to look at it almost like a vacation. He said, when you have people that are struggling with things, dealing with things, right? You have to, and dealing with, I guess, you know, like, he didn't say the word alcoholism, but basically like substance abuse. You have to make it appealing for them to want to step away from their everyday lives, to give up the comforts of their own home. I mean, you're going to a recovery spot. Like, anyway, so he was saying, you got to make it difficult you got to make it appealing for people to want to step away from their lives for however long and take part in this recovery process. So that's why people choose to go to places like that, because it's appealing to them while they can still get the help they need. Me and the person next to me looked at each other like, does he think? Because I'm not no judge. I'm not a judge. I'm not jury. I'm not an officer of the law, not an officer of the court, none of that. But to me, this kind of seemed like, you sure this is what the judge got to do? I mean, but the lawyer got to do what the lawyer got to do. He said they have to make it like an incentive to get help. Throughout this whole time, Karen is sitting there. Now, she may have been crying beforehand. I don't know. But she was sitting there very stoic. It was just so crazy to see the back of Ray's head. Like, that's the head we be seeing on TV, whatever. Like I said, the nephew kept looking back. Then he talks about the place she was at, and then says she went to a place called Right Turn for 48 hours. It's a place with rooms meant to look like jail cells, so she could get to feel and experience what that's like. But that's not real jail. No matter, what is it called? Oh, it starts with an S. A simulation. What was it, like a Sims simulation? I mean, yes, I guess that could work for some people, but even like with Scared Straight, they took them to the jails. They didn't take them to a place that looked like a jail. But this was supposed to matter to the judge, that she went to a place that looked like a jail cell so she could experience what that's like. She also has a continuing relationship with her therapist. She was getting therapy and all of that. Sometimes it was hard to hear again because he was very low. So I was just trying to get the important parts out to y'all. But y'all can imagine, he's trying to show what Karen has done, everything that she's done. She signed up to participate in a program where she would hold a handheld device, like the breathalyzer device, and she'd be required to blow into it 4 times a day, and the results can be sent to whomever she wants. I get that, and that would deter her from drinking. Like she would stop drinking because she knows that 4 times a day for however long they set it up for, she would have to blow into it. So she knows. By the way, none of the Potomac housewives were there. I kind of wondered if any of them would come in solidarity, but I know they might not want that media attention, if you will, because they're not celebrities, so they're not going to get walked in on the side. You know what I mean, like Karen or what have you. So, but anyway, she wanted the judge to know that she participated in that program. She goes to the Alcoholics Anonymous, the coffee club, twice a week. She's doing that. She heard stories of people that I wasn't sure if it was either hit by drunk drivers or that were drunk driving. Like she told the story when she read her, because later on she ended up reading a statement, her own statement. Her voice was very well put together, wasn't shaking, but the paper she was holding you could see her shaking. But her voice and stuff was very clear. And she told the story of listening, I guess, to a person that was drunk driving and they hit a tree, and now that they're paralyzed and their life has changed, and by the grace of God, that wasn't her. And I always feel kind of about those things, like, for instance, when the bridge fell and people are like, thank God, God was looking out for you not being on the bridge. But does that mean he wasn't looking out for the other people? So I kind of, when people say that, it's kind of like, I get what you're trying to say, but, life happens. So anyway, she was basically saying, talking to the people, being in this room that was supposed to be like a jail cell. She didn't do them together, but just different instances. She's committed, So let's see. Oh, then they called Ray up. When they called Ray up, Ray just went and stood where the lawyer was. It was like the lawyer was guiding him, asking him questions. How are you, Ray? Or your name's Ray Huger. How are you? And then he asked, how is the family? And that's when Ray said, because I tweeted, Ray said that the kids are hurt by this. So the lawyer asked if Ray was aware of everything that Karen has done in the last few months to get help. Ray talks about the different things that she's done. He also said that Karen is doing very well. She was scared to death before, but she's recovered from the accident. And that's when I saw Karen dabbing at her eyes. That's the only time I saw her. Again, I may have missed because I'm looking down tweeting. There were times when I was looking up. So I was like, can you imagine him trying to put you out? Here. But I wasn't the only one with my phone. Y'all, there was somebody with a laptop, tap, 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 tap behind me. I said, no, sir, a laptop. Seriously. You that busy? Or is you multitasking or is you, what are you doing? But anyway, so that's the only time that I did see Karen crying, like wiping tears or whatever. And the tissue was crumpled up. So like I said, she could have been crying before. That's the first time I saw it. Ooh, y'all had to get more tissue. Okay. Like I said, the Alka-Seltzer wears off after a while. And then I waited. I just took some right before this when I should have took some as soon as I got home. And I was supposed to go to Tally Ho, y'all, right? I was going to go pour one out for Karen, water or ginger ale. But I was talking to Corey on the phone, leaving. Yeah, I forgot. Because my car, I couldn't find my car. Then I realized where I parked. And then, because it was only 11 minutes from there, I would have went and completely forgot. Guess who reminded me? Corey. He was like, don't forget to go to the place and have lunch. I told y'all he's with the shenanigans. But by that time, when I looked up the address, I was 20 minutes further away. I was like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm going to have to go to Tally Ho. But I wish I had remembered because I definitely would have went. I'm going to say Ray looks really good. Even on TV, I felt like Ray looked good, vibrant and walking around. Ray was getting around good. To be 77, because they did say his age, the man is 77. He looks good and was getting around, walking up like fine. So I feel like the gray and the beard is what makes him look even older. Yes, he's 77, but I feel like and that makes him, then with he's not completely bald, so he's got like that half moon and then it's gray. So I think that's what ages him, to be honest with you. So her lawyer is saying Karen is a good person, has been gracious through this experience, maybe to you, but not to the popo and the body cam. He asked the judge for a suspended sentence. So it's a completely suspended sentence, no jail time, 3 years probation, AA twice per week, make therapy a condition, and then something else. But child, when somebody opened those doors and they're rustling around, you definitely couldn't hear anything. So it was like, and you could tell everybody's like, oh, like stop moving, shut up. So I didn't get what else he asked for. I'm sure all of that, the minutia of it all will come out later. Again, he kept reiterating what programs that Karen had done. She's taking this very seriously, doing the work to get better, has family support, all of that stuff. Child, the prosecution got up and make sure it's in order. Child, the prosecution wasn't really buying what Karen was selling about the recovery spot. I noticed what they kept hammering in on was Karen's previous offenses. One was 2006, 2008, 2011. There was another one, and then now this one. And some of them had been downgraded. So like the one for 2006 was a driving while impaired. There was another DUI that was downgraded to driving reckless. And then the other two, I forget what they were. When you go on the Maryland judicial website, you only see one, which is the 2006 one that I saw that I was telling you about the other night. One of them was in Virginia. So we wouldn't see that in the Maryland courts. And then the other two were in different districts. The fact that Karen had 4 different run-ins and was able to get again, driving while impaired, the first one, and then 3 other ones downgraded and nothing, not a nothing. That's crazy. When you really think about that, even though people could say her last one was this many years ago, from 2006, this happened in 2024. In 18 years, she has had 4, now 5, because this is the fifth, no matter what you label as a DWI, DUI, or driving recklessly, alcohol was involved. In 24 years, she's had 5 offenses of driving while drinking. 5 in 24 years. It's like every 4 years you're drinking and driving. The first one didn't scare you. Even the second one. The third one. The fourth one. I feel like Karen wasn't and I'm saying celebrity in quotes, with the 4 incidents that she had, she wasn't a celebrity, wasn't on TV or any of that, right? Then here comes this 5th one. She's already been able to basically have her way with the system and not do any time, not be thought of as a crime, nothing. Now she has this celebrity status. And I truly think she thought that she was going to be able to go out free, to get off somehow, which is why she took it to trial. I think, even though they tell them not to take into account the celebrity status, I truly think she thought she was going to get off. She got off 4 times before. 4. First one DWI, second one downgraded. And I think the 3rd and 4th ones were downgraded. Again, all of that'll probably come out, but I'm not really sure. But That's crazy. So the prosecution said they were running down everything. 2006 this, 2007 that, 2011 this. Um, and the prosecution was like, I understand. They talked about their facility, that it didn't seem like Karen was taking this seriously to go to a facility like that. Then the prosecution said, and it was a woman, she said, I understand people getting second chances, but this is her fourth. She has got her second chance. And then she said, something's got to give. I said, who's going to argue with that? This is number 5. She said she understands second chances. Karen's had her second chance, and third and fourth, and something's got to give. I said, her voice was really low. I was like, girl, come on. We need, like, I'm reporting live from Montgomery County Courthouse to Rehab on AKA We Go podcast. I need to hear you so I can get the information back to my people, my community. But anyway, prosecution wasn't having it, wasn't wanting to take anything into consideration. Like, this is what it is. She doesn't get it. We don't believe that she's going to take this seriously if she doesn't get jail time. So we were like, okay, hold on. I don't want to be coughing all in y'all faces. So we were like, okay, hold on. It's definitely getting, it was already serious, but, you know, listening to her defense talk for so long and talking the soft tones and Karen has done this, Karen has done that. Then when you hear the prosecution, it's like, oh my gosh. And I will say this. So when Karen stood up, they asked if Miss Huger was going to speak. Karen stood up. Again, the 613 was great. She first apologized for bringing this to trial. And then she talked about how she was arrogant into thinking that she could basically handle the alcohol. She has learned a lot. The court needs to know that this will never happen again. She can assure the court of that. Again, like I told you before, she heard stories of other people and like the young man who hit the tree and is paralyzed and his life is forever changed. She takes accountability. She's joined this program, that program. There are people that look up to her, you know, that depending on her, she's not going to let them down. And I will say, I get it. You're fighting for your life in court, right? Fighting for my life. You fight for your life in court. And it is your job to let the judge know, this is what I've done, this is what I've done, this is what I've done. But for those of you, probably a lot of you may have seen, I called in on Kempire show, shout out to Kempire, right after I was leaving the court. And I said, to me, it truly felt like self-promotion versus self-accountability. And maybe I don't know what that looks like. I'm not saying she had to be snotting and crying and sniffing and sneezing and falling to the ground, right? And again, I know that you're fighting for your life and trying to convince them, hey, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. But it just came off very much like, let's take the focus off of what I did and me being sorry for what I did, even though I am. Look at what I did afterwards. So I did this, I did that. I've done this program. I want to do that program. You know, I'm a role model. People look up to me. That's what it was like. Versus, you know, I'm sorry that this happened because of my action. This is what I did. And then also the prosecution did mention the time frame in which she did this. She didn't go to a rehab facility right after. She waited until after her sentencing. And that to them is like, she didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing, like she played in our face. And I felt like when the judge was talking, I think he felt offended on behalf of the courts. Like, you really playing. So Karen said her statement, assured the judge, again, child, not like this is never going to happen again. It's a wrap. I'm good. I promise y'all. See us free. I'm good. Baby. That judge turned into a real housewife. When I tell y'all the way he was reading Karen, it wasn't just like, and on 2008, you had this occurrence. 2007, you had, y'all, one of the things he said was, first off, he was reading her actions in that body cam to Phil. I didn't get to tweet his exact wording, but basically talking about what he saw on the body cam wasn't cool. Then he said, this was so Karen is no stranger to drinking while driving on our roads. When she got a probation before judgment in 2007, and this is how he said it, one would think Miss Huger learned her lesson. In 2008, before the ink was dry on the first one, she was arrested again. She didn't take it seriously. He said, before the ink was dry on the first, on the driving while impaired, she was arrested again. The judge was like, when he started talking, I looked at the person next to me and I was like, and I tweeted y'all and say, I think Karen going to jail. She wasn't getting out of that. To me, the judge very much was like, oh, you need to learn a lesson. I feel like it was twofold. I feel like even if she wasn't famous, he would have sentenced, or I'm saying famous, but y'all know what context I'm using that in or what I mean. If she wasn't a public figure, I still think based on the judge, she still would have went to jail. And I think also because she was famous or because she's a person, public figure, he knew that he couldn't let people think the court is a joke because he kept mentioning this has happened 4 other times. And like, she's been in court for this 4 other times, not just hearsay, she's been in court 4 other times because of drinking and driving. 4, didn't do 1 ounce of jail time, nothing. He said, Karen had the hang of the, so remember her first conviction was in 2006 and then again in 2008, I believe. He said Karen had the hang of working the system prior to 2011. All the warnings went in one ear and out the other, but she remained deterred. He said she had the hang of working the system. And to me, I was like, is he saying like she knew somebody on the inside? Because I mean, 4 times, y'all. Granted, I know one of them was in Virginia, but even 3 times in Maryland. Like, yep. So I was wondering if that's what he was talking about. He said that she needed to go to a program, like a rehab, that did not have a summer connotation, like the one she went to. Y'all, when I tell y'all, he was full on like, nah, this is not cool. I ain't cracking a smile. I ain't doing none of that. I said, oh my God. And then that's when I tweeted, y'all, I think Karen has gone to jail. And then he was like, what is an appropriate sentence? What is it? I suspect with the other one, she paid fines. So what do I do now? Give her, what do you say? Give her probation and pay an even bigger fine? Is that going to do anything? Is that going to teach her a lesson? I said, oh, Karen, you going to jail? I knew it. He said, what do I do? Give her a bigger fine? Is that going to teach her a lesson? I said, oh my God. Oh my God. She was stoic though. She was soldiering for herself. She was sitting there. And then he would ask randomly, so what is the punishment? What is the fine? I mean, what is the I forget what word he used, but basically, so what should the sentence be? What should it be? It was pretty much it was just pretty much standard like that. Like, oh, again, he documented every single time and he did that more than once. He would reference her other incidents. And I was trying to get exactly the incidents exact, but again, he was talking and the judge's voice was clear. There was a point when I had tried to, okay, y'all, record just the judge talking, but then I was like, I'm going to miss the tweet. Let me see. So he says, the judge said she was intoxicated 4 times in the last 17 years. This is actually the 5th. 4 times. He said, was it more likely that she's been very lucky? or that basically she learned how to work the system.
Will either consider the defendant's celebrity status or the inane statement she made both at the accident scene and while at the point.
Y'all, now that I know it was recording that good, I wish I had to record it. But again, I should have had two phones like Melody Sharif from Love and Marriage. But he was pissed. He said the court will not consider. Did I say that already? Your celebrity status nor your inane statements. He was very much, but y'all heard him like, has she been intoxicated 4 times, 5 now, in 17 years. Oh, that was before this one. So it was 4 times. Those other 4 was 17 years. And then this one would make, yeah. So the judge was not playing with her. And she was standing up there, y'all. When she had to stand up and he was saying all this stuff, when I tell y'all my stomach was in a bubble and my butt was clenched, I can't imagine how she felt. I do wonder if her lawyer prepared her and said, look, you're probably going to get some jail time, but maybe they were thinking 6 months, right? Because the way she handled it, I was even shocked. She was just up there. And like I said, the judge was not playing with her. After she gets out, she cannot drive a car for a year. Then there's other conditions, but I didn't really get them. People were like leaving and walking past and saying, excuse me. So I didn't really get the other conditions. I'm sure we could get that information elsewhere, but she definitely can't drive a vehicle for a year after she gets out. I forget how many years probation. It was either 3 or 5, 3 or 5. Remember, she was sentenced to 2 years. He said, I sentenced you to 2 years with 1 suspended. So for those of you that don't know, she got 2 years in jail, but they're suspending 1 full year. So she only has to serve a year. He did tell her she has 30 days to appeal, and she has 90 days to do a reconsideration. A reconsideration is a reconsideration of his ruling. He won't give her more time. It'll either stay the same or she could get less time. So I'm wondering if she's going to take advantage of those options while being behind bars. So when he first said this, I thought, oh, I wonder if she's going to stretch that to be out, right? To not have to report right away. Because I'm waiting for him to say when she's got to report. So I'm like, I wonder if she's going to use this time to see when she's going to be out, when she has to report. He never says when she has to report. So they do the closing, whatever, it's over. Karen's sitting there. I go out. I leave out. And I see a gentleman who was in the courtroom earlier with a notepad. I hear him say to someone, they're taking her now. So y'all know I'll have a conversation with you. So I said, did you say they're taking her? That she's going to jail now? He said, they're taking her today. They're taking her now. Or I said, did you say she's going today? Or something like that. Can't remember now. But he said, they're taking her now. I went right on back into the courtroom. I did not want to take a picture of that, you know. If I was a photographer, maybe. But also because at this point, the courtroom had emptied out. A lot of people had left. And I still didn't go all the way in because now it's almost like, are they a zoo animal or a zoo project? And people are just like standing around, so I did wait out in the vestibule. They gave her a lot of time. I want to say it was 20 minutes, maybe a little more. They gave her, and then you hear somebody sob a little like, oh no, like that, right? I thought it was Karen. It wasn't Karen. It was one of the ladies that was with her, one of the family members. But then they got themselves together real quick. So they just was like, oh God, either oh God or oh no. And it was like, oh, like that real quick. Again, wasn't Karen. I thought it was, but it was one of the family members. She was sitting with her lawyer. And then, they're all crowded around her talking. Her family was still kind of in their row. And she's like kind of bent down like this, talking to the lawyer, having conversation. And you're like, what's going on? Her nephew, Matt, still looking back. Not nephew, her cousin, Matt, still looking back. I guess to see if we're still there. We're still here. Yeah, we're still there. And then, like I said, I tweeted, let me get the exact words. Yo, I could hear something. And you were like, wait. What was that I heard? Um, she gets up because she was chill. Because I was like, how long they gonna give her? Like, it was like 20 some minutes. And she was being taken into custody. And I tweeted that she yelled. And I'm not like saying she yelled like, ha, but she yelled like, love you, Ray. God's got you. You'll be all right. God bless you. So I'm gonna say that again. She says, love you, Ray. God's got you. You'll be all right. God bless you. Child, they took her into custody. Karen was gone. And then I go out in the hallway. Ray's out in the hallway with the family. We're footsteps away. And the family's just kind of walking around. And then I see the cousin, Matthew. What's his name, Matthew? Maybe not. I thought it was, but um, who slimmed down a whole lot. I just noticed that because I saw, like, when he walked by, I was like, oh, walked back into the courtroom for something. But I hear Ray say, does anybody have her purse? Maybe that's what he went to do. Maybe they left her purse in there. But he says, does anybody have her purse? And so at that point, I was like, okay, because I went to act like I was going to the bathroom to kind of hang around. Then I was like, okay, just go, child, just go. So then outside, I guess they realized that they weren't getting, it was funny leaving the courthouse. The cameras were still set up. And I guess they realized that they were not going to get a citing, a statement, or anything from Karen because y'all, they took Karen to the jail. She's serving, I don't remember where, but it's like not prison, it's jail. Child, Karen is going to jail for a year. Again, she may get out earlier, but they start filming for Potomac, what, really recent. So I wonder if they're going to film and then just have her come back the following season. Because you know they're going to want that story, which will be interesting because if she does spend 2025 in jail, or they go ahead and film, even if she doesn't spend the whole 2025, it'd be interesting if they started filming and she got out when they started, would they have her back in the middle of the season? But it would be interesting to have her film the entire year. I mean, to have her in jail the entire year. She doesn't film. She gets out in 2026. Let's just say that, right? Or either at the end of 2025. And they invite her back on the Housewives. Would they do the same and invite Jen Shaw back? I wonder. Crimes are different. Oh, and then I did ask the sheriffs, because I needed to know. I was walking out and I seen two sheriffs and I said, can I ask y'all something? They said, yeah. I said, what determines if someone gets taken right away or they get to get themselves together, and submit themselves? He said, a crime. He said, basically, he said, she's a criminal. I said, the grand dame is a criminal. Like he said the words criminal, y'all. He's, cha. I said that. I said the grand dame is a criminal, and I thought I heard like a knock inside my house, but it was the ice machine. y'all that watched the Potomac recap, y'all saw that. I thought I heard something this morning. But anyway, he said basically she's a criminal. He said they both were talking, but there was a main one that was talking. He said 99% of the time I see they go right away. She committed a crime. It's criminal. He said it's up to the judge to allow them time, but normally they just go. Then I was like, do you see a lot of high profile? And I just did in quotes. I said, I know this may not be high profile, but he said, yeah, I've definitely seen my share of them. And they're like this, people watching and stuff like that. I said, oh, okay. Y'all have a great rest of your day. They were like, you too. I was chopping it up with the sheriffs a little. Then I got into the elevator. The door was about to close. Then his hand stuck through the door like this. It was another sheriff. I looked over. I said, I feel safe. He started laughing. Then he picked a different floor than mine, which is lower. I said, now I'm going to the lobby. I don't want to go with you. He started laughing. He was like, it's just a different floor. And I was like, okay. Then it was over. I walked out and you see the news, or the people with the cameras were waiting for somebody to come out. There were other bloggers there and they were giving interviews to the news people. Child just kept on going. And went to go find my car and could not find it, then realized where I parked. Because I was about to trace it from my phone. Like, where's my iPhone? I was like, oh, they'll have, or my car location, they'll have it. So, but I found it just as the meter was running out for the second time, because it ran out the first time. I had to re-up in court. I said, please don't let this be the time that they can, because what if they look up and be like, man, were you on your phone? I don't want to get no ticket. I got to re-up this. So I re-up my parking. So y'all, that was my day at the courthouse. It was very surreal. I don't know how Karen was standing up there. Like, I mean, I know she had to stand up there, but when they told her, like, this is the sentencing, and she stood up and the judge started out reading, I said, she's going to jail. And my stomach immediately, y'all, dropped. I was like, oh my God, there's no way she's going with the way he's coming at her. He didn't pull no punches, didn't spare no feelings. I feel like he felt like she was playing with the judicial system, like thumbing her nose up at it. And he was like, nah. For him to say she managed to work the system, right? What I say? He said, say it again. She has the hang of working the system prior to 2011. Because remember, she got two before 2011. Then the third one, 2011. Then the fourth one. And then this one. So remember, one DWI, and then I cannot remember, one reckless driving, and then two, I think, were DUIs pleaded down to something else. How she was able to do that, she had to know somebody in the court. I'm sorry, something. Like, who did Brielle Bierman have to blow for you to get off 4 times? And again, he talked about, oh, did I tell y'all he talked about money? Yeah, and how it must have been expensive. The fines. Oh, yeah, I told y'all that. And he was like, basically, like being smart. Like, so how much? Should I just make it more? Would she learn her lesson? Judge was not playing with Karen. I do wonder if she'll get time off for good behavior and be out in 6 months or less. We shall see. But again, she's going to the jail, not the prison. They said the name of the jail. I just can't remember. But y'all, that was my time at the courthouse. It was a sight to behold. Any of y'all that were there and y'all happen to come across this, hey, child, we were soldiers in arms in there watching. Because I'm telling y'all, there was white folks, black folks, older folks, young folks. I was like, yo, people really came out to see the people that worked at the courthouse coming in, coming out, having to leave, saying, all right, let me know what happens. Like, they were not playing, and they wrapped it right on up. So Karen was taken out today to the jail where she will remain so far for a year. Ray is hopefully home with his children. Again, I didn't see his children there. I know Raven lives in New York. I didn't see his children there, y'all. That was my time at the courthouse. So I'm Taria Faison from the What Else Is Going On podcast, signing off. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya. I hit the wrong button to get out.